Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Wine Shine Quarantine with Shalini. And today I have a very interesting guest and a very interesting topic. And I know you all have been waiting because I've had some wonderful messages from friends who had questions. And these are questions which people are actually embarrassed to ask a lot of people with because the topic was intimacy and relationships and tantric sex. So people said, let me send you the questions privately. And I'm lucky to have Christiana with me. Christiana, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your invitation. I'm honored to be with you. And
So
blessings to all the women and people watching.
thank you. So it's lovely to meet her always because she greets us with the namaste. So she brings our Indian culture back to us. She's very, very connected to India. And I'm actually, where are you right now? Because you're always traveling and always on the go. So which part of the world are you right now?
At the moment, I'm in Romania, in a very beautiful touristic city. But at the beginning of the pandemic, I was in India. I had the honor to host a pranic festival there with people that are nourished by prana or light or energy, which I organized in your country. And I was planning a retreat in the Himalayas when they started to, stop all the flights. So I had to go back home. But I'm coming back as soon as they open.
Oh, can't wait. I hope I'm here this time when you come to India. It'll be so wonderful to be here in India with you.
Me too, me too. I'm looking forward to visit Delhi and visit you and have some fun together, of course.
So I had the good fortune of actually hearing Christiana speak in Monaco, thanks to my friend Beverly, and I always thank her for all the beautiful people she brought into my life. So I've had the good fortune of listening to you. I know that you're a holistic therapist, and I know a lot of people who have actually got transformed after coming to you, which is absolutely amazing. You give credit for so many changing so many lives. But today, I wanted to talk to you regarding, the circumstances have led to a lot of changes in people's lives and relationships
Yes.
are affected. And for whatever you may believe, you believe that, you're spending so much time with a person and you have so much time to hold and hug and cuddle and be intimate. But I think that is not happening. I think the intimacy is becoming an issue with spending so much time together. So, what are your thoughts on this, and why do you think people are reacting and behaving the way they are?
Well, first of all, it's a very stressful time for everyone. Everyone has been challenged to their core fears, the fear of death, has been the main fear of the planet, the fear of losing their health and therefore losing their bodies. And the second one was the fear of survival. I mean, being challenged financially because the economics has been, very unstable. And these are the very two factors that actually destabilize a relationship, even when people love each other. I mean, if you think in terms of yogic tradition, because we are talking to India mainly now, we would say that the first chakra of the yogic traditional system has been very, very affected because of these two primal fears. Well, these two primal fears are actually the fears, the things that are affecting intimacy as well, because the first chakra has also to do with sexuality and relationships, and the first and the second. So therefore, even though people maybe are loving each other and respecting each other and happy to be with each other, they're having trouble sticking together because they are actually affected their base, their core um, foundation, of life. So when you're afraid that you're going to die, or when you're afraid that you won't have something to put on your table, you no longer think so much of being nice to the other person next to you. That's what happens. That's the primal subconscious cause of what's happening in the world. And I see many people being very grumpy on the streets right now with no reasons, just because that's the general vibration.
Yeah.
Second of all, um, we're um, we're experiencing a situation that is unprecedented because most people were used to stay with each other 2 or 3 hours a day, right? The rest of the time they would spend at work, or they would spend in different other locations. Now they're all at home, nowhere to go, right? And
No,
they aren't used to spend so much time with their partner. They aren't used to allocate so much time for their relationships. So that's why some get bored, some get annoyed, some get into conversations that they've never had before. And it's firing up, it's triggering some stuff that has been maybe hidden under the carpet, or under the amount of work, or under the amount of whatever people were hiding behind when they were working. Now they're not working anymore, and they have to face and show up for each other. So that's another
that's
thing
so
that's
true.
affecting
You're
relationships.
absolutely right, because when you say that there's a lot of things that couples don't deal with, and they just say, okay, we're getting by because there's so many other things to distract us that we just go on
Hmm.
with that. But I think that people should deal with the issues rather than put them under the carpet, like you said, right? They should be dealt with head on, and that's the way you can actually grow together rather than exploring one fine day, under these
Ah,
circumstances. A good idea, anyways. So, Christian,
yeah, yeah.
before I ask you the next question, I want you
Mm.
to. This intrigues everybody. What fascinated you about what you do, and what fascinates you about India? I think all my friends will be so happy to hear that, because it makes us so proud about our heritage and culture. So, I'd love for you to share it with us.
To be honest, I'll make a parenthesis. I just want to make sure that the video is live now on your YouTube, because I'm not seeing it. I'm just making sure that people can see it, because I've sent it to some friends. I don't know if I'm on the right page, or
Yeah, yeah,
but
check.
anyway.
Yeah, check if your friends have been able to sign in. I do see a lot of people, but it's not showing me their names, because when we go
Ah,
on
okay.
more platforms, because it's different people on different platforms, I'm not able to see names. Everybody
Okay,
comes as
it's
a
okay.
user, so I can't
It's
tell
okay.
who's watching.
So
Yeah.
to come back to your question, I'm so fascinated by India even since I was a child. When I was a child, I saw a magazine that had on the cover the picture of an Indian bride, in the traditional, with mehndi and all the jewelry and the traditional way that brides are. And so I had tears in my eyes instantly. For those of you who believe in parallel lifetimes, I'm a holistic therapist. I work with parallel lifetimes, or what people call past lifetimes. The there actually can be memories from other lifetimes that make you be fascinated by a place instantly. And as I grew up a little bit, I started to be fascinated by your traditions. First and foremost, the meditation, of course, that I'm practicing since I was a child, and vegetarianism that I intuitively started also in childhood, in adolescence, and everything else. I've been studying yoga for 10 years and practicing and teaching. I've been studying deep meditations with various, the transcendental meditation, and all your sages like Ramana Maharshi and Anandamai, and all the people that have proven that we are unlimited. What I'm fascinated in this life, especially, and in my profession, is to prove that we're really unlimited. And the tradition in India has shown, because of the sages that have overcome the human limitations, because of the teachings that have taught us that, when you stop your mind, when you go beyond your thoughts, you go into a limitless possibility of the universe and all that. And it is true. It is something that I've experienced, that I've lived, that I'm experienced as we speak. And that's what fascinates me about India, and also in my job, because now what I'm doing is I really help people get way beyond their limitations of whatever they are, mental or emotional or physical limitation, into the unlimited possibility of what we were created to be. So that's what
Amazing,
fascinates me.
amazing. So,
Mm.
Tantra and tantric sex is a topic
Mm.
that people don't usually go out there on the social media and talk about it. But I do know that it's a very
Mm.
something you teach, and I know it's very popular in the West, in fact, because people don't understand the intensity of what exactly it is. Just the word sex kind
Mm.
of becomes taboo for them. So, this is, I know,
Exactly.
energy, and I know it's derived from a Sanskrit word, but I'm not the expert on it, and you are. So that is obviously
Mhm.
a question which I want you to clear the doubts that people don't understand what kind of powerful energy it is. So do share with the audience about tantric sex.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I want to share about Tantra because there's Tantra and then there's Tantric sex, which is just a little branch, a little aspect of what Tantra in its whole wholeness is. So Tantra is the sum of spiritual practice, the sum total of spiritual practice. It includes meditations, mantras, yoga, body work, all that, and it also includes, and we should practice those things first and foremost to center ourselves, to balance ourselves, to be in balance with ourselves and with the others, and and to be in union with ourselves, in a state of union, which tantra really is. And then we can practice the red, so that's called the white tantra, the solo practice, the meditation, the preparing your vessel basically of all your bodies. And then there's the red tantra, which is the practice with a partner, which when you invite somebody else in your practice and you start practicing with him. And I must tell you, it's nothing that you see in the Western culture. The Western culture has transformed it so much these days and has made it be so commercial and so to attract people. Basically, that's the purpose of using that term, but it's not saying exactly what it really is. It's not going to the depth. Basically, tantric sex is sharing, aligning yourself with another being in such a deep way that you actually feel the other as being another you, which in
Right.
tantra really the partner is called the alter ego. And it's not referring to the ego that every spiritual person is trying to make vanish. It's referring the alter ego. The alter ego is the other me. you know and when you take on a partner, you are aware in tantra that he is mirroring or bringing up all the stuff that you have hidden, that you are not looking at, that you need to integrate or overcome, that you need to love in yourself. And he is that thing for you. He's the version of all the things that maybe you love about yourself, but also the things that you might judge about yourself. That's what you find in your partner. And when you share sexually with another person, all this stuff eventually comes up. There's a very high intensity of energy being shared. That's also true, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. And there are practices, of breath work, of energy sharing, of touch, various practices that can activate certain areas of your body and of your energy field to amplify all that. But there's also the after party. When emotions come up, when thoughts that you've never had before come out of your subconscious, when traumas start to open up, because actually the tantric sex is a healing practice. It's not just rubbing bodies against each other, like this. It's
Yeah.
very powerful healing practice. The energy is very powerfully enhanced, and it brings out all the good, but also maybe the bad in people. Tantra is really going beyond the good and bad and seeing God in all and good in all, and especially in your partner. To see that he is the reflection of you and is showing you what you need to see and integrate and embrace in yourself and in the world. So it's a very deep practice, and it's a spiritual practice. It's not just a sexual practice. That's very important. We in such an encounter, all of you participate, not just the body, as you're taught in some tantra classes, to touch, you touch the G spot, you touch this, you touch that, and then you have this super orgasm and everything is fine. No, it's more and much more than just the body. The emotional parts of you are participating. Your emotional body is getting very much energized and healed. Your mental body is very much participating. Your mind has to be still, not to have judgments about certain things, or taboo, or fears, because otherwise you'll have to overcome that. And all of you is participating. You cannot leave anything outside,
Yeah.
as opposed to the one night stand stuff and the Tinder stuff and everything that people are doing now, that is very, very superficial.
Yeah.
Tantric, we have to say the truth. I mean, that's happening now in the world, and it's crazy. I mean, for me, that's the Neanderthal of sexual sharing. But as opposed to that, really, that's the truth. As
You live
opposed
in
to
all of
that,
this. You're
what, sorry?
in the real world as well.
We have to speak the truth, as opposed to that tantric sex, tantric love making, I call it, because it implies the component of love. Love cannot be missing in tantric sharing. If you don't have love, then you're not in tantra, you're having just body rubbing. Love is the main component, the main glue of tantra, and without love there's no tantra there.
And
That's
like
what I
you
think.
said, so from what I understand of Tantra is because it's derived from the Sanskrit word, it's all about connection. So I think, like you
Yeah.
said, the work before is what is more important. And that is the reason I bring it up in current circumstances, because it's not about the act. It's about the connection that you have with each other. It is about,
Mm.
your mind connecting, you being in the same space. As they say that the breathing in Tantra is very important. It's the 4-7-8, as they say, the breathe in 4 times, hold it for 7 times, and breathe out 8 times. So it's the breathing together, which in any case, even in real life, they say that for partners to be connected to each other, these are the connections which are a necessity. And which is why I wanted to talk to you about Tantra, because I think the preparation, or the foreplay, is what is important. And foreplay not in the sexual sense, but the build up of togetherness and of connection, which makes the
Yeah.
entire. So that's why I brought it up, and I said that, do you not think that in the current circumstances where people are feeling disconnected, even though being in the
Mm.
same space with each other, there is a disconnect? This is an amazing practice to bring into a couple's life at this
Yes.
point.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It would be the revolutionizing um, of anyone's life. I say it's the deepest and fastest spiritual practice, the Tantra, but also the most challenging. Because it's one thing to be spiritual by yourself, in your own room, or in your own bubble like this. And it's much more powerful when you invite in a partner into your life, and you're starting to work with the energy of the couple, and with the energy of the Tantra that is multiplied by a gazillion. It's your energy multiplied by 1,000, you could say, in a tantric practice. And it speeds up all your evolution. It brings out all that you haven't been able to observe in yourself. It accelerates everything, but it also brings out everything that a couple has to meet for each other, everything that they've been avoiding or not seeing maybe before. And it brings a lot of intimacy as well, but only if the both of them are willing to, be in connection with each other. I mean, in a deep connection, not just for the daily needs, you know, honey, did you bring food? Yeah. Did you wash the dishes? Yeah. Did you? Yeah, okay, let's go to bed now. Okay. And then they go to bed for 2 to 10 minutes. You don't even know what happened there. Like, were we together or not? You know, what's going on? Are you done yet?
Yeah.
And then nothing. And then they pick up their cell phones and they start scrolling. I mean, that's not communication and communion. I must warn you against using technology in bed. It clearly diminishes your capacity to stay connected to your partner.
I think.
Especially, you know,
Sorry, go ahead.
I, I would put a banner on saying avoid scrolling after orgasm. Just keep 10 minutes of connection. I mean, that's necessary. People should put a post, a little sticker on their phone, not I'm not scrolling after orgasm. I have to take 10 minutes of pause. That's and I'll explain why. I'll really explain why now, because people might think I'm crazy, but I don't care. I just want to say it. It's like this. When you had a very powerful intercourse with someone, such a deep meeting, where you've involved your bodies and your energies and your emotions and everything, right? And then you're done and you're in this elated state. You've had an explosion of pleasure and all that, which we call orgasm. Especially in Tantra, they can be powerful, they can last for hours, not just seconds. Like, that's another benefit of being in Tantric sharing. There you are,
Wow. Benefit.
and you've had that. Yes, yes. Yeah, we're starting to motivate you to look deeper into it,
Yes.
like, screw spirituality. What about longer orgasms then? you know, and and you've just had that experience, for a few seconds or a few minutes, or maybe continuing for half an hour, right? And then all your field is expanded, all your energy is totally open, all your chakras are, completely open like this. And you go on Facebook, which is a pool. It's like you've put the best golden dress on yourself, which is the energy of orgasm, and then you jump in a pool with all the other people. Like, that's not fun. you know that would be the Facebook or the Instagram.
I'm
That's a
hurrying was holding
pool
my
with all
golden
the
dress.
other people. All
Oh,
the
yeah. I said
what?
I'm
Sorry.
worried about spoiling my golden dress.
Go, girl. And then you jump in that pool, where everybody has washed, and then you're no longer golden anymore. That's not fun. That's the Facebook or the Instagram, is the pool of all the thought forms and the emotions and the energies of all the people. You might want to take a break to stay with yourself and with your partner after wearing that golden glow on you. That's the motivation that I say, stop scrolling after orgasms. Take some time with yourselves. Take time to stay connected. There's a deep sharing that maybe you don't see or feel after you've been intimate with somebody. There's a lot of things going on between you two, even if you don't feel energies, even if you're not that aware of maybe the telepathic exchange or the energy exchange. There's still a very deep sharing that can go on for hours or even days or even years. That's why sometimes you think of your partner and he calls you right away. There's a bond between you, there's a connection there, there's the energies that have been exchanged that are very powerful still between you. And right after you've had that bond, you don't want to just jump out of it. Stay a little bit, see what comes up, take some time with each other. That actually strengthens the connection between you. That's the first step. Don't jump from Instagram straight to bed and from bed straight to Instagram. Take
Yeah.
some time to just develop that connection. Another thing that's very important that people really don't know is that when you've met a partner, in a bar or in a party, and you just go straight to bed with him for the first time, right, in a couple of hours, your fields are not really synchronized yet. Your energies are not really aligned with each other. Even if you like each other, even if it's a killer attraction. You want to drop all of your clothes out the window, right? But you haven't synchronized very well yet. The energy of you is not in alignment fully with the energy of him. That's why it's good, if you have the chance, to take some time, maybe take some days at least, to not necessarily the old-fashioned way, to play the games of I'm not sleeping with people in my first two dates or whatever. It's just to synchronize energies. It's something deeper, what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
take some time. Just hold it for a little while, just to synchronize with him mentally, emotionally, even physically. The bodies align in some way to each other. It's good to at least lay in bed for a while next to each other, just to have those two chakra systems aligning, before jumping into something deeper and more profound. That's another advice that so whenever I meet someone, I don't just rush into it, because there's no rush actually in this world where we are eternal. We can still have time to enjoy each other. And that's another thing. And the third thing is, in picking partners, maybe take some time to be mindful who you're sharing with, because there's a lot of exchange there, not only fluids but also energy that's being exchanged. And like I said before, when you have a connection with someone, and also sexually, and you think of him and he calls you right away, that's called energy sharing or telepathy. And it's
Yeah.
happening really to many of us, right? Maybe you've experienced too. If you have 7 partners of that kind, it's going to be complicated. So,
A lot of girls right now saying, "Oh, let me give it a shot. I don't mind giving it a shot with this 7."
well, it can be complicated. I mean, people barely handle themselves and their emotions and their thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Barely handle their partner, one partner at a time. But if you have 7 or several, or 7 in a week, for example, or Tinder scrolling all the time, picking a new one,
Yeah.
uh, that's a pool of energies again that you're bathing in, that you no longer know which is which and which emotions are from who, and you're feeling it at a subtle level. It's happening in your system, that you're feeling it, but you're not acknowledging it because you're not trained to feel energy. And you think it's all okay, and I had a good one, and I should tap myself on the shoulder. But it's not really like that, because at a deeper level, when you see people being very scattered and very unable to center themselves, it's also because of the way they choose their partners. So that's
Yeah,
another
because
thing.
you do end up, since you, like you said, that they're feeling the energies and they don't make the right choice because they don't know where the energy is coming
Mm,
from. There's multiple
yeah.
people to choose in between. The other
Mm,
thing that I do, Christiana, is I work with a lot of couples as well for happiness and
mm.
relationships, in the midlife story. So the midlife reboot, as I call it. And
Oh,
in this whole midlife situation, I think in any case, a lot of couples are going through, forget not really having sex with each other, but they believe that it's become libido
oh yeah.
problem, right? Because they're bored with each
Hmm.
other. Obviously, they think that it's a libido issue. So, do you think that something like this would be a good? Mm-mm. I've lost my guest in the middle of my question. Don't sign out. She will be back. It's probably her signal. Just give us a minute. We will be right back. I think she's sending me a message. You have to come back, Christiana. We're not done. Bear with us, guys. I'm sure you're enjoying the show because there are a lot of questions you don't go out there and ask. And this is really about energy, it's about connection. And there are so many things you can do while you're home with your spouse or your partner, or somebody that you're trying to build a relationship. You may just be locked down with the person. This is a good time to do that. I'm not sure if Christiana is coming back, but I do see a lot of my friends here. Shifali, hi. Pooja, thanks for watching. Ashish, hi. Sandeep, hi. Thanks so much for watching. I think she's back. Yeah, she.
Libido went off
No,
for some
no,
reason.
like, I think these are questions that
Yeah.
some of my friends have asked, and people are so. So I was asking you about midlife reboot. So a lot of people are going through libido issues, do you think that you would advise them to center themselves, the spirituality and the other aspect of it? What's your advice, actually? I should ask you.
Yes. I would say that sometimes it's really libido issues, and libido issues can come in many places. Like it can be a hormonal problem, it can be a problem of stressful and emotional situations where the libido drops. It can be like now I can imagine that many people have libido issues, that if they've been in fear or have been stressed economically, then yes, the libido might drop. It can be something because of some health issues that it's undiscovered in the body. You know, if men have liver issues or poor kidney energy, the libido is off. And if women have their menopause or premenopausal symptoms, the libido can decrease as well. So the hormones and the organs have to be healthy for couples to have a healthy libido with each other. But above and beyond all things, it can be boredom. You know, because you've seen that person for 20 years or 15 years, and because people are not engaged in self-development, and they don't change really, they stay almost the same energy all the time, and sometimes also the same moves, we have to say. So if they're not aiming to evolve in any direction, it's the same energy all the time, or if one is evolving and one is not, and you need to change something within yourself and in your partner, then yes, the libido drops. But it's not really a matter of that's no longer a matter of physical libido, you know, coming from health or hormones or whatever. It's coming really from how the energies are playing between the two. If you start to enroll yourselves in a personal evolutionary journey, to start shifting your energies, to start upgrading, uplifting your vibration, your frequency, you know, to start working with your chakras, to start doing some yoga, to start, you know, be a little frisky, you know, to start changing things in your life, then yes, the libido will definitely increase.
Okay, your signal is playing tricks again, Christiana. We're still listening though. So I know that you're in this beautiful place. I can see the sun shining on you, and the weather seems awesome. But your signal's like all shaky. Come back to me. Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You're back. You're back. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was, yes. Sorry about that. So I was saying that the best, it's not necessarily, you know, you have to get frisky, you have to change something. That people, especially change in the outside, you know, they do some Botox, they do some facelift, they do some boob job. It's not enough. You know, the best facelift comes from inside. You know, when you have a young new partner and you're all of a sudden radiating, where did your libido come from? Like, what happened? You're the
Like,
same you. Where did that libido
when
come
you change the rat, the and the libido
from?
takes off.
Yeah,
Really, the
and
coolest rat.
there you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not necessarily you have to change the partner. Sometimes you really have to change the dynamics between the energies in the couples where you already are. I mean, if both partners want to evolve beyond, or yeah, beyond the crisis, you know, the midlife crisis or how you call it, and it's not about just changing clothes and the looks. It's changing from the inside. That's the most important thing. And for women, because I promised women in India to give some tips today, if not many people
Okay. So
know.
I have a question, Christiana, before you go forward,
What?
from a friend, Pooja. She says, what really shifts when you do yoga, etc., that will affect your libido positively?
Well, your energy shifts. That's what I was going to say. Your energy shifts. Yoga, it's a very powerful science. It's not just a holistic technique. It's a powerful science that has to do, for example, the physical yoga, the hatha yoga, that has to do with the postures, you know, the positions of yoga. When you do a certain yogic posture, you actually activate certain nerves that you press on in that posture that activates certain areas in the brain that shifts things in your personality. It's a very powerful science that is not just some woo-woo stuff that the sadhus in India are doing. It's really, when you start studying it and when you start studying what each asana is doing, each posture, you're gonna see that it affects and it shifts your internal organs, your chakras, your lymph system, your endocrine system, and your way of thinking. I mean, so many things can shift just by sitting in a certain way. Isn't that great? And if you do that with your partner, it's even greater. I mean, to have both of you the same rhythm of evolution, that's amazing.
I also
And
have,
another,
I have to mention, Christiana, I have Sandeep Soparkar, who's also from Bollywood. He's a great dancer. He teaches Bollywood. He runs a school, I think, in dance.
ah,
He says dance too plays a very important
oh
role to
wow,
improve relationships and make the bond and relationships stronger. So I think that's more about the
absolutely.
endorphin, the adrenaline. Yeah, I think so. That's more to do with that. But please go
Yes,
on.
yes. The hormones, like I said, yeah.
Yeah.
The, and thank you for that comment. I really saw his comment and I appreciate it. I'm also a teacher of meditation dance. I taught women to go into meditation dance and just because women especially need to learn how to let go and surrender. And especially in Tantra play, that's the main thing. Otherwise, you cannot have an orgasm. If you don't surrender and let go, it's impossible. I mean, I've met so many women that cannot and never had an orgasm in their lives or until a more advanced age. Why? Because they didn't know how to let go and surrender, and
Inhibition.
because
Do you think
they've
inhibition?
experienced a lot of fear.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Go
Or
ahead.
taboos in their minds or shame or whatever, and dance is an easy way to learn the surrender because you surrender to music, which is innocent, it's pure, it's something that cannot harm you, you know, and you can let go of your body and just move. And then and there's actually a book called The Grandmother's Secrets that talks a lot about dance and its healing effects on women that I highly recommend to all the women to read. It's written by a professional dancer from the Arabic culture and it's very, very powerful and deep. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Christiana, before we sign off, I want you to give a message to the couples who are locked down together and experiencing some intimacy issues. What is the advice that you would give them? What should they change?
Make
And
love.
how should they deal with the rest of it? Because I think we've got another month or two of this. So we have to love
Oh wow.
each other and also go
Deeply.
on with life. So some advice from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Make love to each other. Stop having sex, you know. That's not helping you much. Just get into a place of love and start loving each other. And start remembering maybe why you chose to be together. And if you can't remember, start looking at each other deeper and see why are you now together, why are you with each other, what do you love about each other really, and maybe make a list for yourself every day and give it to each other of why you love each other, why
Yes.
you are sharing love. And if you don't love each other, just know that this is a temporary thing, because
Yeah.
at the soul level in your deeper aspect of yourself, you've always loved each other through all lifetimes, through all dimensions, through all timelines. You've loved each other, and you are starting to move apart now just because of your mental and emotional distancing, that and some things that you're harboring and some resentments that you have with each other. But at a deeper core, when you look, you'll see that you love each other. And also start learning some tantra tips, to practice in your bedroom. That wouldn't hurt. You have a lot of time to meditate. You have a lot of time to breathe, individually and together. So start doing that. Start doing some breath exercises. Start doing some asanas. I cannot share asanas here, somebody was asking,
Yes.
because that would require for you to see my whole body and how we move. But if you type on the internet or you Google yoga asanas, you'll see them. and you'll find what works for you, because if I don't know you, I cannot recommend something. Just it's
Yeah,
very,
no,
very.
she's appreciating you as well. And Sandeep is saying amazing things. Manpreet is here. I'm actually sharing these so that you can read them as well. Um, and
Hmm.
I think we can go on. And you and me always, whenever we meet and we talk, we always go on because there's so much to learn.
So beautiful. Yeah.
It's never ending knowledge. It's the years that you've given to this. And I will get you again on the show, Christiana, because we're not over, but I do know that you have another engagement. So I have to let you go. My
Yeah.
little advice to the couples that are watching is that the funny thing about relationships is that we are constantly playing hide and seek with each other. When one is seeking, the other is hiding. It's
Oh, yeah.
so we have to get on the same page. We have to be
Oh, yeah.
together, and communication is the key. And like Christiana said, the breathing exercises together, spirituality together, there are so many common things that we can find with each other and make this an interesting lockdown and build our relationship rather than distance ourselves. I also believe that a lot of touching and hugging and holding hands is a necessity, because that's where we get our oxytocin from. And unfortunately, we've been barred from hugging or holding friends now, which you would actually get
Oh,
it from
yeah.
the friends. It's amazing that
Yeah.
I'm holding a dog for hours on end because it gives me so much
Yeah.
happiness. Hug. I miss hugging my friends. So I think the
Yeah.
hugging your partner who's in your same home is very, very important. Christiana, anything else you want to say before we?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you want more tips about it, there's a Facebook page that is called True Tantra. You can True Intimacy. You can go and look it up and see what we post there. Not necessarily daily, but every now and again when I feel something needs to be shared. And also on True Intimacy Unveiled, it's called the page, right? And you can look at it and see what really is my take on true intimacy and tantra and all this. Then on June 30, right in a few days, we have an intimacy class which is online. It's starting at 9:30 India time, and which is 7 p.m. Bucharest time, right, for the people watching in other areas. It's an intimacy class. It lasts for 4 hours. It's a beautiful, deeper, much deeper sharing on this. You can find it on my website, soulhealingacademy.com, at the events section. So that's where you can maybe participate if you want to dive deeper. And that's where we're sharing tips and some sexual tips also, and some breathing techniques and stuff like this. And for women, a lot of exercises that you can do with your yoni, that you can actually facelift yourself without any operation. That's another important thing, to
That
know that your youth
I could
depends on.
the takeaway from today has been that after that golden dress, don't use the phone. Leave the phone. To do.
Let it go for a long time.
You get to
Exactly.
your session, your energy, your location. I can hear the birds chirping and your insight. Thank you so much, Christiana, for joining us. All my friends, if you want to reach out to her, you can give my reference and send her a message. She'll be happy to entertain these questions, which I know they're never ending and they're all here. She's a very, very good soul. She will be happy to help you. And thank you all for watching. Thanks, Christiana. See you again. Until next time, keep
Thank you.
watching.
Many blessings. Thank you for everything and for having me here. Much love to all. Bye bye.
Thank you all for watching.
Ciao.
Shalini says Wine Shine Quarantine. Until tomorrow, which is another interesting session. See you all. See you, Christiana. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.